Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, and I felt very motivated to share some things with you today. One of them is the theory behind being bored. How many times have you heard children, relatives, friends say, "I'm bored"? Let me tell you why you become bored. You become bored because you don't or you haven't taught yourself how to think, how to use your imagination, how to fantasize, how to improvise, how to be spontaneous, how to just go and step in with the flow of things, or to create that flow or usher in that flow. You're bored because you're waiting for everything to be presented to you, to be handed to you, to be given to you, to be done for you, to be thought of for you. We are so entertained by movies, by sports, by the cooking channel, by reality shows, by all of these different things. And I want you to know what that fascination is. The fascination is with the process. Spirit said the fascination is with the process. The process of growing, the process of expanding, the process of thinking, the process of being and becoming, of the change. It is the process. And I was having this conversation with a good friend of mine the other night, and we were talking about how when we went to school, I'm 48, so that was a while ago. When we went to school, we were taught how to think. We were taught about those who were the great thinkers, the Galileos, the Platos, the Einsteins. We were taught about the great thinkers, those that thought outside of the box. Leonardo da Vinci. There's so many, and we're talking about coming from a place where the earth was thought to be flat at one time, and to say that it wasn't was heretical. It was crazy. How can you think that the earth is round? Wow, that you got some issues. Everybody knows the world is flat. Don't you see that horizon, that line? That's where the world ends, right there. Right? If you go off that and you fall up, you're gone. Limited thinking abilities. We have to get to, we're like diamonds. We're so multifaceted. You turn us this way, we shine. You turn us that way, this part shines and glitters and sparkles. And we are multifaceted. We're this whole complete diamond, but we're also each one of those little facets. And you have to teach each one of these little facets, or each one of these little pieces. Teach yourself that they have thoughts, that they have feelings, that they have imaginations, and you have to let yourself go there at times and not be worried about what someone is going to think of you, or what somebody is going to say, or that you're going to be labeled, crazy. Doing the same thing over and over again in the same manner and not progressing past that. That's the definition of insanity. And if you look at humanity, what have we been doing? We have been progressing, and we have been processing all these multi-dimensional, multi-vibrational, multi-functional ideas that came from imaginations. But when you boil it all down and just get to that clear, broth, that clear portion, you realize all of those different things came together to make the flavor. And you needed each one of the ingredients. You needed the onion, you needed the celery, you needed the whatever you put in your soup, and you boil it down to make your stock. You needed all of that. And then you separate it, and you have your stock. There should never be boredom. You should always be playing with those flavors. You should always be playing with those textures. You should always be willing and open to learn a new way. Getting back to the being bored, and we're bored because we don't know how to think. No one has taught us how to think. We have everything given to us. We watch TV. We don't see the work that goes into making that movie, the production, how many takes it takes, how many hours it took just to shoot that one scene. We just see the finished product and say, okay, that was boring. It wasn't that good, but we don't see the time, the effort, the imagination, the many times that the actors had to get themselves in character to do this part over and over and over again, or take directions from the director when they read it and interpret it one way, but the director says, nah, no, you do it this way, and you have to execute it in that manner. Or when you have to be a villain or a bad guy, and that's totally against your nature of who you are, you have to come up with a way to portray that character. And that comes from your imagination, your interpretation, and your studying and thinking. When you think, and if you think, and when you teach yourself to think, you're never bored. You're never bored. And if you wonder where that came from, look at the universe. You want to know God, then know an essence that is never bored. Look at the diversity of life. We become bored because we don't want to think. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I just wanted to give you a little bit of what's been going on in this vast galaxy of this universal brain here. And now I'm going to pull a card. Not going to take that long. Just wanted to share. And as you know, I have the Daughters of the Moon Tarot that I'm going to use by Ffiona. And here's my deck. Beautiful round cards. And I'm going to clean them, of course. And they're clean. And I'm just going to pull one card today for us. And I want this card to be about boredom and what we need to do as a species to become more thoughtful, to become more imaginative, to become more in tune with the process of manifesting and creating internally. So that's what I hope to achieve with this card. And I'm counting on the universe to do it. And the card is dun, dun, dun. Khalifa. Now, I just want you to know something, okay? This card has special meaning for me. I've pulled it a couple of times before, in several videos probably. I've also had it come up on radio shows. And to just show you the synchronicity, and connecting the dots and how messages are repeated when there's something really there that we need. I just posted this card, this picture of the card last night, on my Facebook page. And now I'm going to read what it says. Maiden of Flames, Aries, Khalifa. So let me find her in the book. Looking for flames, the fire element. There she is. And I'm going to read what the Arcana of Flames is all about. There we go. Here we go. Oops, sorry about that. The Arcana of Flames, the element of fire. Traditionally, the Arcana of Wands. Earth is still and solid. Water shifts and flows. Air drifts and blows. And fire burns, infusing them all. Through our solid flesh and bones, the fires of our will and desire move us to action and towards the fulfillment of our dreams. Fire is mysteriously ephemeral, not quite matter, not quite spirit, the element that dances between the material and spirit realms. The drum beat in the south, and passion rises. Flame represents the vital life force, high velocity energy, and playfulness. This is also stored up energy which we hold in reserve for use at a later time. In the tarot, fire represents our energies, growth, change, will, vitality, action, leadership, and creativity. The maidens, mothers, and crones portrayed in the flames arcana are charged with life and action, asserting themselves as leaders and co-creators, and standing in their expanding personal power by reclaiming their assertive faculties. If that's not reclaiming your thought processes and your way of thinking, thank you, Mama. The explosion of vital energy transforms the effects of centuries of passivity, sometimes bringing recognition and fame from the world. However, be aware that in becoming Amazons and asserting your fiery self, you do not cut off your yielding, receptive pull energy, which is also your power. Like Pele, the Hawaiian fire goddess of the volcano, we are rising from the depths of thousands of years of repression to transform reality and make our presence felt in the world. Now that was an explanation of what the wands or the flames card represent. So every card in this suit is of those things mentioned, between spirit and between fire and between air, and fire infuses them all. And this is the imagination. This is why we should never be bored. We should never be used up or consumed up or washed up or through or lost or stagnant. We should always be moving, always be thinking, you know. Okay, let's see what Khalifa, Maiden of the Flames, Aries, Page, Knight of Wands, has to say for us. In myth and legend, Khalifia was a black Amazon queen who lived in California with her Amazon tribe 665 years ago, before Europeans appeared in this country. Khalifia was a fierce, impeccable warrior and a passionate leader of women. She comes to teach us new ways and directions to expand by actively using our will. The maiden promises growth, self-confidence, and leadership ability. She can sway others with her enthusiasm, and she is a moving force and a daring fire woman. However, the intensity of her character can at times be consuming in its strength and impulsiveness. Califia is a superb role model for active feminists today. In life readings, she indicates that risks are being taken that are liberating and strengthening to the seeker. Maybe you are investing a great deal of energy in political work. In working for change, we often resist leadership, overlooking the fact that leaders are necessary and need to be trusted. However, leadership can be rotated so everyone can explore that aspect of her personality. Leaders and followers would both do well to learn confrontation skills, so they have the ability to give constructive criticism. In an ideal world, leading and following are seen as mutually empowering. Tilted or reversed readings show an untempered spirit. They also indicate the seeker is dealing with the uncontrolled and consuming aspects of fire. The fire maiden may be full of herself or consumed by her ego. The Aries ram charges, horns leading recklessly, blinded by the outrage she feels at society's injustices or impatient to make changes at any cost. She needs to give herself time to reflect, center, temper her energy, and develop sensitivity so she will be able to find creative channels for change. If that's not telling you to use your imagination, to gain the patience that's needed to observe the process while you're engaging in the process. And I want to thank Ffiona and I want to thank Spirit for giving us that card. Again, it is Califia. There we go. And for me, that also has a total of 5, which is the number for humanity. 5 fingers, 5 totals, 5. It is the number of humanity. And it has great meaning as far as the imagination goes, because when we're taught our first numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is the portion, that is the process. First you learn to count in ones, then you learn to count in 5s, then you learn to count in 10s. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for that expansion that way. And when you begin to process things in a way that you start to think really deeply about things and about yourself, and you start connecting those dots with yourself and with those things, you begin to expand and you begin to manifest. You begin to co-create your reality. And we are part of each other's reality. You play a part in my reality. I play a part in your reality. If you're watching this, I play a part in your reality. For this moment, however long you sit here and listen to this. And it's up to you to use your imagination to connect with what I'm giving you, what I'm saying. Whether you believe it or not, whether you can expand upon it, it's up to you. Whether you choose to make fun of it and pick holes in it and tear it apart, again, it's up to you what you want to do with it. But being bored is a choice. It's, for me, a waste of energy. To be bored means that you can't think of something to do. And when I would try to come up with that with my mama, she would always tell me, oh, you can't think of anything to do? I'll give you something to do. There's always something to do. You should never be bored. So in taking that a step farther, we should never be stuck. We should never be just in a place that we cannot get out of, because we have to think our way out of it. We have to imagine it, our way out of it. We have to see ourselves fixing or whole or no longer wounded or having back what was taken away. You know, we have to see it to create it, to get there. But to stay stuck is to be stagnant and shows a lack of imagination, and you're stuck in your thinking, and you need to change. You know, a diamond needs to be polished. You don't just polish one little spot right here. You polish all of it, you know. And when the rays hit it, it gleams and sparkles and ooh, you know. You are that diamond. There's not just one area of your life that you polish or that you pay a focus and focus and focus till you don't see anything else within yourself, within others. You know, if you just hear certain things, if you only allow your mind to give you certain things, then that's your diet, and your diet needs to be changed. You know, you need to get some nourishment in there. You need to get some spiritual vitamins in there. You need to get some minerals and different things in there that's going to nourish your psyche, that's going to help you develop an active imagination. And once you have that active imagination, whew, there's nowhere you can't go. There's nowhere you can't be. There's no reality that you cannot establish if you get your mind straight and your thinking straight. We ask for miracles. Miracles happen every day. You know, people walked on water, cured the blind, blah, 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 blah. How did they do it? Imagination. Imagination. Imagination connected with energy, with thought energy, with heart energy, with intent of focus, you know, with the heart desire. But it takes you to think. You got to think. And your thoughts need to be your thoughts. They don't need to be my thoughts. I can show you how. You know, it's like riding a bike. I can show you how to ride that bike. I can show you a bike. You've seen everybody else riding it. But until you get your tail on that bike and learn your balance and see yourself riding it, don't make a bit of difference. But once you do, nobody can stop you. And then you get crazy. You want to ride with no hands and no feet and feet up on the handlebars and jumping over this and all kind of craziness. Because your mind says, yes, 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 think, think, think. We are not limited beings. We are born with the greatest gift. And that gift is our minds and our ability to think. And we have become so conditioned to people telling us, you can't. No. Be still. Be still, but think. Think. If you leave your physical body here and use your mind, you can go all over the place. How do you think gravity was understood? Somebody had to think. Newton had to think about that apple and it falling and so forth and so on. Gravity, you know? You had to think about the earth can't be flat, you know? You needed these thinkers. We got to a point in our history where the thinkers were rounded up and they were branded heretical or witches or demons or whatever they've been labeled, traitors, some of everything. Why? Because they thought outside the box. They were the ones with the imaginations, ones who questioned why. Well, what is this? And how and no, that don't make sense. And then you have those in place saying, doesn't have to make sense, you just believe it. That don't work for me. That has never worked for me. That has never, ever worked for me. Just believe it. Show me why, show me why, show me why. And as you keep asking, show me why, show me why, show me why, the universe will show you why. All that is hears you. You're connected with your thoughts resonate, they vibrate, and you create, something that is going to answer you, whether you understand it or not. It could come in the form of a storm. It could come in the form of an animal. It could come in the form of a child. It could come in the form of a letter. It could come in the form of a bug. It could come in the form of a flower. It could come in the form of drama. It could come in the form of an ache or a pain. But if you are not connected enough, if you cannot look at things and say, well, what does this mean? What does it really mean? Does it mean nothing? Either way, think about it. Think. We need to teach ourselves and our children to think. So many people look at the world and say, well, we've got all of this technology, we've got all this, we're blah, 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 blah. Look how far we've come. If we've come so far, how come we still are killing each other? How come we're still competing with each other? How come we're still saying, oh, I'm better than you? When we all sit down and go poop and pee, and our blood is red, and we all bleed. How come? It's because we have not gotten past thinking that we are that separate things, or that my thinking is better than your thinking, or my mama's thinking was better than your mama's thinking. We have a long way to go, but it's also a short way, it's that narrow way. It's the thinking way. So many people will tell you, oh, the wide road is this and this and that, and the narrow road is blah, 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 blah. The wide road is not thinking. The narrow road is knowing how to think for yourself, following your own intuition, inner knowing, processing your own thoughts to the conclusions, And it's not about being perfect. It's not about getting it right. It's not about a timetable. who can do it the fastest. It's about going at your own pace. It's about being whole. It's about going through that narrow passage. It's about the journey that takes you through it. And that journey is what you imagine it to be. And if you feel frightened and full of fear, guess what your journey is going to be? It's going to be exactly what you put out there, that you created. You want something fearful to teach you. You need to be afraid in order to learn more about yourself. But if you can say, I don't want to be afraid. I want to be loved. I want to love me enough so that everything that comes is sweet, and it teaches, and it uplifts, and it nourishes. I want things to be interesting. I want it to move me. I want it to touch my soul. I want to be a part of life. I don't want life to be this separate thing. And I'm just going, blah, 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 blah. Go this way, Valerie. Okay. No. Why I gotta go that way? What's that way? What's over there? What's over this way? Why can't I go this way? Huh? Go inside. Which way should you go, Valerie? Valerie, make your own way and go this way. Okay. That's Valerie, okay? Valerie's not going to go this way just because you said, go this way, do it this way. Never has. Probably never will. Nope. I use my imagination. I use my intuition. I use the process of thought. There's nothing more fascinating to me than the process of thought. Why someone thinks the way they think. Why they do this. And the outcome of it. With no judgment. Just why. Just why. And I believe more of us should get on that boat. Get on the boat of knowing yourself. Get on the boat of expressing yourself. Get on the boat of expanding your way of thinking, your way of seeing, your way of interpreting. The more you know, the more you experience, the more you should grow. Okay? Alignments have happened. Things have changed outwardly, above, below, inside, all over. There's no reason to be stuck anymore. You're stuck because you're afraid to move. You're stuck because you lack the imagination. For whatever reason, because someone cut you off when you were little and said, that's stupid, shut up. No. When I was little, I wanted to color all outside the lines and color it this way, and that way. And I was told, no. You color inside the lines. You trace it like this. And then you color one color. And you don't go, you go up and down, or side to side and side to side. And then it's pretty. Isn't it pretty? Okay, yeah. It looks like everybody else's, okay? But, okay, if you call that pretty, okay. I thought mine was cute the way I had gone like this and went up and down like this and went outside the line there, and, it was different. It was unique. It was pretty to me because it had texture. It had substance. It leaped off the page. It wasn't just like everybody else's. It wasn't a cookie cutter kind of deal. You have to be imaginative. And if you need, not all of us know how to communicate with ourselves. And so we lack the ability to give ourselves permission to imagine ourselves with different hair, to imagine ourselves with different eye colors, or different facial features, or different body types, or skin colors, or anything. Why? Because we've been taught, no, this is what you are, this is what you stay, and you're a sellout if you try to do this and you act like that. You're not being yourself. You're doing this, and you're. A rose is a rose, no matter what color it is, no matter if it has thorns or not, no matter if it's long stem or it's been cut. It's still a rose, and each rose has its own unique smell and its own unique growth pattern. And not every rose is identical, no matter how you look at them. We are like those roses. You don't have to line up in a row. You can be the odd duck. It's okay. Use your imagination to be the odd duck. Find out why. What that does for you. What it rewards you when you allow yourself to be what your imagination shows you can be, or you want to see how far you can go and how comfortable you are going there. But if you never think it, if you stop yourself based upon what society or humanity or conventional rules say, then you're always going to be limited. Universal laws are what should guide you in your behavior as a human being. Universal laws, the law of Ma'at. There are 42 laws. Learn them. Use your imagination to put them in place. Let them be your guides. Let them mold you, because with them, you will never be limited, because it gives you range. You're never bored with Ma'at. You're never bored, and you never hurt someone else, and you never allow yourself to be hurt. That is the narrow road. That is the road where you are connected to all. That is bliss. That is nirvana. That is heaven. That is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself to be an imaginative being is saying, I am divine. I am godlike, because I can think. I can think of this, and I can think of that. I can connect this with that. It doesn't have to make sense to you. It makes sense to me. In my imagination, it's beautiful, whether it looks beautiful to you or not. To me, it is beautiful. And it makes me feel beautiful. My aunt guides me. I'm not hurting you by thinking and feeling this. I'm expressing me. I'm expressing my creativity. I'm expressing my divinity. And that is my birthright. And when more of us human beings get to the place where we see ourselves as universal beings, as spiritual beings, everything will change. Everything will change. Because you will. Explore. Use your imagination. Why? Why will things change? What's going to change? Guess what? The answer is you. The answer is you. Look in the mirror. Change you. You want different things to change? Change you. Start with you. Start with your imagination, how you see yourself. You know, there's so many, and I don't want to take too long. I've already gone over 40 minutes. But this came in my spirit, so I'm going to speak it. Gabrielle, I can't say her name. She was Precious in the movie Precious. Siddiby, I believe her name is. She's a big girl like me. Beautiful big girl. And society just condemns her. And her answer is, I am me. I love me. I look at me and I see beauty. Whether you see it or not, that's your business. But when I view me, I see beauty. And that beauty is what allows me to be strong. That beauty allows me to keep getting up even when I fall. That beauty allows me to show other little girls and other little boys to use their imaginations. To never be bored enough where someone can tell you what you are. You're so bored that you believe what somebody else tells you about you. You're unworthy. You're dirty. You're the N-word. You're the B-word. You're a slut. You're a tramp. Really? I've probably been those things in one of my lifetimes, so you're probably right, Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised that comes out sometimes because, like I said, I've probably been one of those things. So, am I good at being an N-word or a slut or a B, or do you have a problem with that too? In your mind, what should I do to correct that, or add upon that, or build upon that, or I don't do a good job at all? In your mind, I should stop, huh? Okay. Not. Don't accept limitations. We marvel at the blind playing the piano. We marvel at someone with no hands and arms taking care of their child. We marvel at people without limbs doing things. You know how and why they can do it? Imagination. Their minds showed them and taught them that, oh yes, you can. And they believed it. And they did it. And they do it. Somebody said, I want to walk on water. I want to walk on water with you. And they were told, just believe it. Just come on. Just trust yourself that you can do it. Do it. Come on. But when you doubt yourself, when you doubt your imagination, You cancel out the miracle. You cancel out the creation. You can't have it both ways, you know? You can't say, I want it, I want it, I want it, but do I believe I'm going to get it? Mm-mm. Guess what? You won't get it because you don't believe. You don't believe you're worthy of it. You don't believe you are able to have it, to process it. You've already prefaced with your words, even your subconscious words. Affirmations will help you with that. Looking in the mirror at yourself. We all have computers. They all have little the little camera thingies on them. Sit. Do like what I'm doing right now. Talk. Talk. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourselves. You want change? Be the change that you want to see. See, you can't change me, and I can't change you. Don't work like that. Universal laws don't work like that. Universal law says, I have to start with me. You know, I have to love me enough. I have to want to know me enough. And I have to be able to see me with whatever. I am teaching myself to be limitless. See, this me has never been out of the United States. This me has never been anywhere, really. And why? Because my mind has always kept me here. You know, what will you do over there? Somebody's going to do this and somebody's going to do that and bluesy, bluesy, bluesy. But what if they don't? What if you get over there and you touch this and you have that memory or something there? Use your imagination to step into the universal flow of things. And you can fly. You know, so many were flying, men flying. A horseless carriage, really. A steaming locomotive. Heart transplant, you say? Microwave. Why who? Wi-Fi. What's Wi-Fi? Something that's going to allow me to talk on a phone without a cord. You got Wi-Fi? Imagination. You can't go anywhere without imagination. You cannot see yourself and appreciate yourself fully without imagination. You will be bored. You will become stagnant. You will be depressed. You will be stuck because you're not creating. You're not producing. You're not expanding. That is what we're designed to do. When you are created, you start with one little cell, and that cell expands upon itself, and it expands upon itself, and it expands upon itself, expands upon itself, and it does this, and it does that, and it communicates, and those nerves form tissues, and blah, 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 blah. We are designed from a universal imagination to be creatures of immense, unlimited imagination. There should be no dis-ease. There should be no murder. There should be no wars. We should have imagined ourselves out of that a long time ago. But everything is everything. See, even this conversation, I'm having to learn how to bring it back to the focus and not having it conflict, because so many things are intrinsically programmed that we have to, wait a minute, detach it and break it up and Rubik's Cube it, to line it back up again with our new understanding. Okay. That's the end of what I wanted to share today about being bored. And the next time somebody tells you, I'm bored, your reply, go learn how to think. If you can think, you're never bored, because you're always thinking of something that's going to entertain you, that you're going to be carried along with, that's going to bring about an action or bring about a change or a reaction. There's always something. There is no reason to be bored other than that's what you want. Okay, and I am done, like I said. Namaste. I am loving sharing with you. I'm loving all this new energy. I'm loving the new downloads that I'm getting. I'm loving the person the goddess that I am. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Each day, what am I going to learn today? What am I going to imagine today? What is going to become clear and clarified today? And I go searching for it. And sometimes I just let it come. And that's what you have to do. You have to just let it come. Teach me. Be a sponge. Soak it up. A sponge expands. Say to yourself, I am a sponge. I absorb nothing but the positive. And from each gram, liter, pint, drop, I am filled and fulfilled in it. It is never about my vessel being empty or half full, because I'm going to keep learning. So I'm always going to have space for some more. More. Give me more. More, please. More, please. We have to help each other. And we have to see each other. And we have to use our imaginations to see each other and know that we are diverse. But we're meant to be that way. And it's okay. Because you know why it's okay? Because the Creator had imagination. We're not supposed to be the same. One is not better than the other. There's no competition. It's about each individual being their individual representation of creation. And that comes from the imagination. In order to come up with a word, you have to think it first. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, before the beginning, there was thought. there was imagination. And there became communication. And with that divine communication, birth the universe. That ethereal gained itself and become matter and, physically did what it did. It reproduced. It expanded in the way that it needed to. So, with saying that, I am going to namaste and use my imagination and say thank you for listening to me and give you the mic back and watch you take center stage for a while and watch you use your imagination and see who you can change yourself into. With the Akashic records, maybe you'll tap into something really great. Let's see who you can become.